fellow Movie Crusaders, and welcome to another episode of Sean's Movie Crusades. My name is Sean Waskrug, and we're going to be reviewing Men in Black International. Basically for me, the Men in Black franchise has been kind of touch and go. I loved the first film with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. Men in Black 2 was really not that good, and Men in Black 3 was okay. So when it ended, I mean, it was one of those, like, it needed to end. And then they decided to bring it back this year. And I was like, we had heard rumblings that they were going to combine it with the 22 Jump Street group, which I was like, I don't see how this is going to work, but I would actually love to see Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum take this on. But instead, they decided to just go completely away from that and to just kind of do like a refresh, not a reboot, because, I mean, obviously this is not negating anything from the previous films, but they decided to let's start it fresh, and let's do it with Chris Hemsworth, who we know as Thor, and Tessa Thompson, who we know as Valkyrie, putting them back together again, and then, putting international on the end of it because they go to London. Trailer-wise, I was not very excited for this film. Every trailer just kind of felt okay, very lackluster. Overall, I was not real excited to see this film, but I knew I had to see it, A, so I can review it for you guys, and B, because it's still Men in Black. I still want to check it out and just see, what it's like. So yeah, I wasn't really excited about this, but, I was hoping that it would change my mind, and maybe it would surprise me, and, maybe I'd end up liking it. So let's go ahead and go into the review. The plot, basically, of Men in Black International is you have, Molly, who's played by Tessa Thompson, and when she is a child, basically an alien creature shows up in her backyard, and the Men in Black show up looking for it. They don't find it, but in the process, they neutralize her parents, but didn't neutralize Molly because her parents said that she was asleep, which she wasn't. So Molly has this remember of aliens being alive, and then there's a group out there who goes after her, so she makes it her life goal to find the Men in Black and to ultimately join them. So then we jump ahead 20-ish years later. She finds the Men in Black. She stumbles upon one of the crime scenes and then follows them into the headquarters, and then she ultimately joins the Men in Black. And then her first assignment is sent to London, where she is to kind of learn, but in the process she teams up with the top agent, Agent H, Agent H, played by Chris Hemsworth, and they basically have to try to save the world once again from these alien creatures who are looking for a weapon that can destroy the universe. Yes, if this all sounds familiar, it's because a lot of it is basically the same plot that we've kind of seen over and over and over again. It is very Men in Black 1-ish in terms of the plot. But yeah, I mean, so like I said, the plot is very basic. It's the same plot that we've seen multiple times before, except that the young new agent has been wanting to be in the Men in Black. She knew of the Men in Black. She wanted to be in the Men in Black for 20 years. That's literally the only difference compared to the first film. That and her agent with her is young and attractive and not Tommy Lee Jones. So what works with this film? I mean, the chemistry between Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth, I mean, it worked in Thor Ragnarok and Avengers Endgame, and it definitely works here. They definitely are a great pair, and they work together very, very well. Tessa Thompson does a solid job as Agent M, or Molly, in the film, and, you can tell, I mean, she doesn't have, like, Will Smith charisma or anything like that, but, I mean, she does a solid job throughout. I mean, she's a character you can get behind, and a character you can follow in potential future installments, that we may or may not get. Chris Hemsworth, actually, I'll get to Chris Hemsworth. I'm going to leave Chris Hemsworth alone for right now. One thing I actually kind of enjoyed, and in the trailers I wasn't real potential positive on, is Kumail Nanjiani's Pawnee, the little alien in the trailer. He's actually quite enjoyable in this film. He has most of the laughs in the film overall. And he was actually a highlight of the film for me. I actually enjoyed him quite a bit. There are also a few Easter eggs here and there, calling back to the previous Men in Black franchise. I caught at least like 4 or 5, just quick little snippets. They don't mention Will Smith or Tommy Lee Jones in the film at all. But there's a portrait of them. So there is a callback to them at one point, but they're never verbally mentioned in any way. But there is a visual mention of them in the film. The story is okay. I mean, it's not awful. It's just kind of all right. It's not going to do anything to blow you out of the water. It's not going to do anything to change your mind on the Men in Black franchise. It's an okay story. It's solid. I mean, you're gonna probably, for the most part, it's a lot like popcorn. It tastes good, but it's ultimately empty feeling. You're not gonna get full from eating it. It's just kind of there, and that's kind of Men in Black International in a nutshell. I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it. I enjoyed what I was watching, but it's not something that I'm going to remember days or weeks from now. I'll probably remember it in terms of my brain because movie trivia and stuff like that. But it's not a movie that's going to stick with me or something that I'm going to think about, days or weeks later. Like, oh, Men in Black International. It's just not. It's decent. But the heart is just not quite there like it was in the first film. The character builds aren't nearly as strong. Everyone's just kind of just replacing the previous characters from the first film, but not nearly as good as the first film was. Now, you could call that nostalgia, or you can just call that what it is. The story is not nearly as strong as the first film. The performances, while decent, are not as good as the performances of the first film. And ultimately, while it's a okay film, it is not going to be as good or as beloved as Men in Black #1. I know that kind of rolled into my negatives, but that was just kind of it for the film. What really doesn't work for me, while I like him, because how can you not like him? Chris Hemsworth, he's basically playing Thor without powers. Every moment or scene of him in the film, I was basically like, okay, that's something Thor would say, or that is exactly what Thor would be. And a lot of people are just probably gonna go, well, that's just Chris Hemsworth. And I'm gonna argue that no. I have seen Chris Hemsworth in roles where I was like, Chris Hemsworth was fantastic in the film. Bad Times at the El Royale, for example. Chris Hemsworth did a fantastic job playing Billy Ray, I think is what his name was. And he did something that I had never seen him do before, and I really loved his performance in that. In this film, his quippiness, his charm, basically everything he talks about in the film, I was like, that is something Thor would say, or that was very Thor-ish. There's even a Thor joke in the film. It's in the trailers. I was hoping that was just going to be a trailer-only scene and not in the actual film, but they actually had one little extra thing in it that was very Thor-like, and it just made me roll my eyes. If you want Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson to not be looked at as Valkyrie and Thor, don't put something in the film that makes you remind us that he is Thor. Because the entire film, I was just like, this is literally just Thor light that I'm watching right now. And Chris Hemsworth's not bringing anything unique or different or exciting that I haven't already seen him do. While, yes, he's charming and I liked his performance and I enjoyed him, it's not anything that I haven't seen Thor do previously. And ultimately, that's the negative about it. Is that he just doesn't do anything different to make me remove my brain from seeing Thor on screen just in a different color and with no powers. So that's a negative technically. I also wasn't a big fan of Rafe Spall. He plays Agent C. He just put his performance on way too thick, and just kind of being swarmy and just kind of being not over the top, but it's like he's typecast to be this certain kind of agent, and he just does it so to a T that it's just like, you're really laying it on thick to make us feel this way about this character. I wish you could have done some things different, and by the time they actually do something different with it, it's too late. And then, of course, Liam Neeson as Agent High T. I didn't realize you could put high in front of the initials on Men in Black, but because they're in London, High T is a good, funny joke, I guess. He's fine, but he's just playing Liam Neeson in the film. He's not doing anything different with the role. He's just being Liam Neeson. And then, of course, Rebecca Ferguson as Riza. She's fine in her small role, but she isn't really given enough to really do anything. And then, of course, Emma Thompson is Agent O from, I think she was in the third Men in Black. Like I said, she's not doing anything different with the role that she hasn't done before. It's just a very paint-by-numbers Men in Black film. And so, overall thoughts, if you guys are Men in Black fans, I recommend going to see this film. If you're interested in the film in any way, go ahead and check it out. If you're on the fence about it, don't go see it. It's like I said in my Dark Phoenix review, there are so many great films out right now for the summer that you could go see instead of Men in Black International. And so in terms of recommendation, if you just really want to see this film, or you're a Men in Black fan, or anything like that, then yeah, go check the film out. You're not going to dislike it. You're not going to hate it. It's just kind of there. It's alright. It's not anything great. But if you're just kind of like, what is this movie? Is it worth checking out or not? It's worth checking out maybe during streaming or DVD or Blu-ray, but, for a movie theater, there's better options for you to check out overall, and I would recommend going to see one of those films instead of going to see Men in Black International. So that's my overall thoughts. So obviously because of that, rolling into the top 10 movies of 2019 so far, this obviously does not crack my top 10, so the top 10 is going to stay the same, where Avengers Endgame still at that number 1 spot, followed by Rocketman. Number 3 going to Booksmart, followed by Us. Number 5 going to John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. Number 6 going to Longshot. 7 going to Brightburn. 8 being Disney's Aladdin. 9 being Shazam. And 10 going to Godzilla King of the Monsters, with the Pokemon Detective Pikachu just being right out of the top 10. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you guys did, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys feel like this review is worth sharing, go ahead and hit that share button. But most importantly, don't forget to hit that subscribe button onto the channel, so that way you guys stay up to date with all the latest videos that pop up. And next week, we've got Toy Story 4 coming out, so big opening for that one. I'm excited. I mean, the story I'm not necessarily excited about, but I'm a huge Toy Story fan, so I will definitely be there. So expect to see that review next Friday. And until next time, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Movie Crusaders.